welcome to Star Citizen Sunday with me, Ryan, aka Sifu Messiah. This is a weekly show which covers everything from the world of Star Citizen over the past week. Links can be found in the description for everything we discuss, so let's get on with it. So this week will be a two-parter. Part 1 focuses on 10 for the Chairman, Around the Verse, and the Vanguard QA Part 1. So, kicking off as usual, we have 10 for the Chairman, where Chris Roberts takes 10 questions from subscribers. First question being, will we be able to use NPC crews when the Arena Commander 2.0 goes live? And Chris says that, not first thing, definitely in the future, once Subsumption comes online, which allows NPCs to have routines. Once that's finished, we should start seeing more NPC abilities. With the first release, there will be some form of PvE opportunities, and there will be some other NPCs walking around, doing their business, doing whatever they need to do, but just not crews. So that will come later on down the line. Next question is, will clothing show damage, and will it persist in the persistent universe? For example, if you get shot, will it get damaged? Then will you have to buy a new one? Very much like the ships. And the answer is, they do have a new character shader tech, which uses layering from the ships, so over time clothes will age, and you will need to buy more. On the damage side of things, they say it's not finalised, it will be something similar to ships, and they're hopefully going to have it persist as well, which is very good news. So not only will you have to replace your ship hulls and, your armour, but you'll have to replace your clothing. So, third question, can you speak to how robust the character creation will be? And Chris explains that it's a very high priority, but it won't be for a while yet. They do have some very fancy heads now, they say, and at CitizenCon we will see much higher quality versions of these. So what we see currently is going to be a much greater fidelity to characters. They have taken scans of many people, and we will be able to blend these faces together to create what we want. Initially, you will probably pick between 1 to 8 male and female heads, and then obviously soon you'll be able to pick your clothes. They're doing final tweaks on the male and females for clothes, and before the end of the year, Chris says that the shops will be made active for us to buy different clothing to customise our characters. Body types will not be too different. You're not going to be able to have a super fat person, you're not going to be able to have a super skinny person, they'll be quite within range. They want it to look real, so they're also not going to allow you to change the length of your arms and your legs in a dramatic way. They all want it to look quite realistic. There will be some height differences, but not to a great length as well. And in regards to ethnicity, yes, he says there's lots of different ethnic characters. So whatever nationality you are, whatever your birthright is, you can portray that character within the verse of Star Citizen. So the next question is, the exterior damage system is great. What will happen to the interior? Which is an excellent question. And he says they're currently working on it. It will feature part of the external damage system, which if you haven't seen it is fantastic. It is all procedural. Anywhere you hit, it will cause damage to that area, but they will have some part of the external damage system and then switch it out for sections. So for something like a VDU or a monitor, it'll spark and things will flash and pipes will burst, as you would expect when your ship starts getting hit. And this will give you the sense of damage, especially externally. We will see this for the first time in MultiCrew, so we'll start seeing interior damage in MultiCrew when AC 2.0 comes out. Very excited for that. So the next question is, will we be able to roam one of the Murray Cup floating structures for spectator purposes? And he says yes, absolutely. The big goal is to have all the Murray Cup locations available to visit, so you can go there for sightseeing. He did say that MultiCrew Module will be sandbox. It won't be a persistent universe location, as there will be lots of things packed within this area for us all to test, so it wouldn't make sense, space wouldn't be that densely filled with the area that they give us. And once the PU is ready, they'll switch it over to the other systems. The MultiCrew Module will be like the social module. You'll enter, you'll meet up, you'll go on a flight, you'll hang out together, you'll do little missions. But in regards to the original question, yes, you can go into structures, you can watch the race like Formula 1 locations. There'll be qualifying, there'll be competitions, it'll be live streamed. If you haven't heard already, the sports within the persistent universe like Sata Ball and racing will actually be in fiction esports competitions. They will be held like many esports these days. They will be in a sense like that, where you can compete, you can place bets. They will be live streaming it on the TVs in the bars, or you can go and visit and watch it live. It's going to be a huge in-fiction world, universe that you can all take part in. And if you are interested in your sports, if you like Formula 1, or if you like the idea of Sata Ball, then you can either be a competitor, you can be a supporter of a team, or you can just go to the bar and watch it with your friends over a pint. Now, this is something that is really going to set this world apart, and it's going to be so exciting. It'll be pretty much, right, we're meeting in G-Lock Bar in 20 minutes because the final of the Sata Ball system competitions, whatever is happening. Get yourself down there, we'll have a beer, we'll watch. Awesome stuff. Anyway, let's move on from that before I get too excited. Next question is, how will ship parking in the persistent universe work? Will it be on an instanced pad? And will the ships go into a parking hangar? And Chris says that yes, it is going to be on an instanced pad, and you will need to get permission. It'll automatically fly you down to your pad with you being able to walk around your ship as this happens. Then you'll get into customs, and then you'll get into the landing zone, pretty much like we saw on the gameplay demo. You will be able to see other players at landing zones, etc., but not necessarily going to be able to get in to see them. There will be permissions that you can allow your friends into the hangars, but if you have not been given permission to this landing zone or the landing pad, then you will not be able to get there. They're still deciding whether or not your ship will be taken to a hangar. Again, this will lead into the permissions for friends. In the sense of a large landing pad or a spaceport, for example, not everywhere is likely to have one. Terra is the most likeliest to have a spaceport with 50 odd people all sat together. It may happen, it depends. They've got to play with it, they've got to see what works, so we will see down the line. Anyway, moving on. What currency will we be using in the Persistent Universe beta? And it says that once the Persistent Universe is up and running, it will be United Earth credits, or UEC. He said that they may allow it to be used in the MultiCrew Module, where you can buy items and so forth using United Earth credits, but they're not sure what would happen once the PU is released from the beta. It may reset or it may not. You know, they've got to look more into it. Rental equipment credits, or REC, is only for Arena Commander and things like Star Marine or the Murray Cup game mode. This is something, REC is something that you earn by fighting. It's like an in-fiction game, a simulation within the simulation, or a game within a game. Arena Commander is not the Persistent Universe, it's not real life, so what you buy in Arena Commander using your REC will not affect anything within the Persistent Universe, other than your ability to fly through practice. So United Earth credits may work in the MultiCrew because it is classed as the baby PU, but once it is brought from the MultiCrew module into the Persistent Universe, they're not sure whether they'll reset the money you've earned or not. It'll depend on how we all feel, I expect. So second to last question, will players automatically orient when traversing in 0G, particularly in a ship? And he says that you're not going to auto-orient to, let's say, up. If gravity does come on, then they will auto-gravitate you to up, so you will land on your feet, not just go boop onto your head. But with the gravity turned off, it will be completely free. You'll float around as you would expect without the auto-orientation. So final question, how much realism can we expect from the science research gameplay? Are you consulting with real scientists? An excellent question, and I know a hell of a lot of people are interested in the science mechanic. He says that Dave and Will, who are the writers, are often conversing with real-life scientists. They're currently working on the star map, which is coming at CitizenCon, by the way, and again, consulting with astrophysicists to flesh out the PU, so it does have its realistic features. They do have the Endeavour and a Reliant variant, which will be science-orientated. Some will be for analysing. For example, he says you may be required to fly within the tail of a comet and then analyse its composition, and then later take that information to the UEE and sell it on. Whether or not you can do anything with that information other than sell it on, we don't know yet, but I'm sure there'll be something down the line. He says there will be various science or research on planets, asteroids and comets, but again, it is a sci-fi universe with some fantasy elements. It is a childhood universe that he's been dreaming to make, so it is sci-fi. It's not 100% realistic, but they do want to keep it as realistic as possible. So whereas it will be quite realistic in a lot of aspects, there will be some areas which it's more favoured to sci-fi just for the experience. Anyway, that was 10 for the chairman. Please tell me your thoughts. Up next is Around the Verse episode 59, and Sandy and Ben didn't have anything to say that we haven't already heard or know about, so straight on with news from Around the Verse, and starting with Santa Monica CIG, they are working on characters for the upcoming releases. This includes things like Squadron 42. The ships currently in production are Herald and the Reliant, as we know. The Herald is in grey box and the Reliant is in white box, and they say within the next 2 weeks it should be flyable, not necessarily to us, but it'll be ready hopefully to go to Q&A to get it flight tested, making sure everything's working smooth, and then we shall see it. And I'm so happy about that because the Reliant is a ship I own, which I did not expect it to be ready so quick. Anyway, on to Austin CIG. They say up next for the social module is Persistence, which is very important. They're also getting bugs smoothed out. They're getting the layouts for Microtech, Crusader and Hurston and getting them into white box, which is very exciting. That must be coming quite soon. They said soon they'll have a blown out system of Stanton, so the full Stanton system. If you don't know, Arc Core, Microtech, Crusader Vader and Hurston are the 4 planets within Stanton. Arccore is obviously the one that we're allowed to walk around now. He says soon you'll be able to fly out and land on all the different landing zones. Super exciting. You can explore them all as we are doing with Arccore. Also, they say that the shared hangar is getting worked on. So, Foundry 42 in the UK. There is currently a UI summit going on to try and get all the UI unified. Things like how they get the AR systems all to connect. These are the augmented reality systems, so when you look at a weapon through your eyepiece, it'll tell you descriptions about it. Also, each studio needs to be able to implement features and apps into the mobiGlas, so instead of having to wait for one studio to do it, they can each do it by themselves without the need of other people or waiting for someone else to wake up with being in different time zones, which is good. It should hurry things along a little. So Foundry 42 in Frankfurt, talking about weapons to start with. They're getting all the weapons looking relevant to the manufacturers so that you can tell them apart or you can automatically recognize who made this weapon. The AI lead is working with the Persistent Universe team. They're working on an EVA model, getting a bit more refined movement, which is good. Also research and development on procedural planet generation tech. Now this is something very exciting. They're trying to provide assets and prefabs to create organic cities and mountains. This is something that will hopefully create much bigger worlds for us all to explore without the need of artists to have to constantly create these planets. Also, design is working on atmosphere and life support systems for ships and stations for things like equalizing pressure and all sorts, so it's quite an important thing there. But it does sound cool because if you manage to get yourself into an area where you can turn the life support off on a ship or a station, then you can potentially take that station if you have the right equipment. Again, opening up so much more gameplay possibilities. They are prototyping and designing hacking. They have big scope for this, and it'll start with small things like a door, and then you go into bigger ships, and eventually you'll be able to vent the atmosphere into space and kill those on board. Hopefully you'll have a bit of a warning before this happens, so you can don yourself in an EVA suit, but we'll have to find out more. Also, the cinematics team are making great progress, which we shall see at CitizenCon, but they can't reveal anything just yet. Now, something I want to point out is there is no message from Ilphonic. Recently, I got word that Ilphonic are no longer working on the game, but other people are saying they are, so I'm not sure why we haven't heard from them for the past couple of weeks. Fingers crossed things are going alright and it's not going to delay anything or people aren't getting fired. We shall see. I'm just speculating. Anyway, if anybody knows anything about Ilphonic, please keep telling me. I want to get to the bottom of this. So James Pugh sat down with Todd Pappy, who is the game director. I'm sure in Meet the Devs next week we shall get to see who he is. There was also a social module behind the scenes video. I won't bother playing it because there's nothing really that we need to see. If you are interested, please follow the link for Around the Verse and click at the appropriate time for this video. So on to ship shape with Elisa Ohanian, and today she was looking at the whiteboxing step in ship creation. In particular the Reliant, because this ship is currently in whiteboxing. The first phase of modelling is whiteboxing, and it's the first time you get a 3D representation of the actual ship. It is very rough, but for prototyping and spacing it works really well, so you can see how things are supposed to work, how, especially with the Reliant, how it can twist and swing around. With the Reliant they were first spacing out the inside, making sure it's wide enough to walk through. Secondly, they needed to get the cargo room and enough space to walk either side of it or between it and interact with it. Now in the next image, the red blocks are for the component placement, so this is where the components are going to go on the ship, or the suspected placements. It also gives them a chance to test out the animations. As you can see it spinning around, and something so cool, which is absolutely awesome, is the spinning pilot seats. Now that looks fantastic. It really moves just so sleek, unique to that ship. Obviously this is a MISC ship, so it does have that slight Jan technology within there. Maybe that is what's influencing this design. Very nice, I love that, and I cannot wait to get into flight with my Reliant. Anyway, from there we went to Sandy and Ben, and they said the August monthly report is coming out soon. Also, Sandy and Ben are off to Atlanta for DragonCon. They are taking some swag, so if you are going, please check them out, go and say hi, and you may be able to get some swag off them. Anyway, the most valuable post this week goes to an Elton Gradash for his forum thread with icons for Star Citizen. So lots of different badges with all the different ships saying Star Citizen. Very cool work. I will find a link and put it in the description for you all. Anyway, that was Around the Verse episode 59. Please tell me your thoughts. So with the concept sale of the Vanguard variants and a deep dive on electronic warfare, a Q&A was inevitable. This is questions about the Vanguard variants. All the questions that people have got in regards to how they work, how you upgrade them, are going to get answered now. So the first one being, will the Battlefield upgrade kits come with LTI like the Retaliator modules? And he says that this is one of the most popular questions. And yes, The Battlefield upgrade kits, or the Buck, will include LTI. The Sentinel and the Harbinger packages will be LTI, but the Warden will not. So next question is, when the Vanguard is flight ready, will we be able to swap the variants with the Bucks you own in Arena Commander? And they say that yes, the plan is to have them available in Arena Commander for you to be able to change them out using the holo table at your will. They can't guarantee it will be ready for the day that the Vanguard is ready. It's likely the base Vanguard will be ready before the variants, which is due to the different weapons they have. Some of them are still in the works. But if you do own a different variant to the Warden, you will be given a loaner Warden until your ship is ready and available to fly. So, next question is the main nose gun the same on all variants? In brackets, does the Harbinger have a railgun? Now, all three variants will have a different nose gun. The Harbinger and Sentinel weapons are in the component pipeline. Again, this is why the Warden will be likely flight ready before those two. And they may differ from the concept art that we saw. The Warden has an APOC or an APOC Death Ballistic Gatling gun. The Sentinel has a plasma gun and the Harbinger has a mass driver railgun. The four secondary guns are different too. The Warden has two M4As. The Sentinel has distortion cannons and the Harbinger has Max Ox Electron. Very, very interesting. So next question is, if I have a Warden and want to buy the Sentinel Battlefield upgrade kit, do I need a Warden Battlefield kit to get it back to the initial setup? And they say no. If you have the Warden, then you already have the base equipment. You can buy it again, and then you will have backup equipment which you can store in your hangar's inventory. So if anything gets damaged with inside the ship, then you'll always have a secondary backup. So you can buy more than one, but as long as you have one of the models, you only need to buy another one in order to have the two. So moving on. If I buy one Battlefield upgrade and equip it, would unequipping it turn it back again? Which is very similar to the last question. But he says, think of it as plugging in 3 different USB devices. You remove one and it gets added to your hangar inventory, and then you can switch back and forth between them, so you have your full choice as to which one you want to use if you have all 3. Next question is, will using one of the Battlefield upgrade kits change the hard points of the ship, turning it from a fully fledged Warden into a Harbinger, etc.? And they say yes, the kit gives you the same statistics as the other ship, so replacing parts where needed. The only thing that will remain is the colour, which is the exterior pattern. That will remain exactly as you bought the ship originally. So moving on, how many modular spaces are there on the ship? Is it just the pod or is there room in the back? And unfortunately they don't really answer the question. They say ships are more modular than they usually mention. Things like weapons, internal parts, sensors, computers, software, and, which is quite exciting, even structural elements like wings can be changed in various situations. So whereas it's cool to hear about that, they didn't really answer the original question, but never mind. So next question, how do the E-War capabilities of the Sentinel compare to other ships like the Herald? And they say the Sentinel is to be something of a trickster ship, mainly for confusing on the battlefield. So it's to make it harder for opponents to stay in contact and have proper info. The Herald is for intercepting and relaying valuable transmissions and other data. Now they both have the ability to do the other's role, but it's likely you'll find more success with each different role itself. So they are better suited to certain roles depending on the situation. So second to last question, is there other seats within the escape module, or will the second crewman always need to be in the turret seat when manoeuvring? And yes, there is no other seats. The escape pod navigation is a standing station. So final question, can the Sentinel perform commercial information running jobs? And the answer is that yes, it can, but it would run into certain limitations, whereas the Herald would not. The Herald has a large data core for holding vast amounts of data, and the Sentinel basically does not have that huge core. You would be advised, it says, to do some data storage upgrades on the Sentinel should you want to be an information runner, but the Herald will always be better suited. Anyway, that was the Q&A for the Vanguard variants. I don't know if there's another part coming up, but I hope that answers a lot of your questions. Please tell me in the comments what you think. Do you agree with all that? Is there anything you disagree with? I would love to hear your thoughts. Okay, so I just have a couple of announcements to make. The first is regarding Twitch. I have started live streaming now on a semi-regular basis, and I intend to do this at least once or twice a week. It was a lot of fun, and thank you to everyone who joined me. The link is in the description to my Twitch channel. It's Super Mac Brothers Ryan, so don't forget to follow me. I will endeavour to create a schedule and try and stick to it, but at the current times it's just too difficult. Until the schedule arrives, I do always tweet out when I'm going live, and that's at SuperMacBrother, no S on the end. Plus, if you enjoy watching streamers, I would definitely suggest heading over to a website called Star Citizen Spectrum. This is a fan-made website, but it holds loads of streamers, including myself, and it'll show you who's streaming when. The second announcement is that SuperMacBrothers are making a website. This will tie in with our YouTube channel and Twitch, and it'll just bring you the news, the reviews, some interviews, and also what's happening in the world of Star Citizen, but in a written format. It's still work in progress, so it's not ready yet, but if you are a patron, you'll be getting some screenshots of its current progress and basically the direction we're looking to go in. Plus, on the website, we will be having a patron section, which is only available to the patrons, which will grant you some perks. We are still trying to decide what perks that will be, and if you are a patron, please let us know and tell us what perks you would enjoy. Okay, so on a final note, we have affiliated with Razer, as we feel they make excellent gaming products, and if you want to help our channel out, plus buy amazing hardware, use the link in our description, and we'll get a little kickback every time a product is bought. So yet again, we have come to the end of the show. I just want to say a big thank you to all our subscribers and a massive thank you to all our patrons. You are truly helping our channel grow. If you are interested or able to help us out in way of a monthly donation from as little as $1 to any amount you deem fit, check out our Patreon page in the description. This really helps our channel to create more videos, better quality videos, and it allows us to get better hardware, better software, plus it allows us to spend more time on creating the videos. Don't forget to subscribe, comment if you have anything to say, show me the love by hitting the like button, and share it with all your friends and enemies. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you in next week's show.